Have you ever felt like someone was watching you, even when you were completely alone? Ever had that strange sensation that time stopped for a moment, like something invisible crossed your path? What if I told you there are places where reality bends, where the dead still walk among the living, and where supernatural marks can become part of you forever? These aren't ordinary stories. They are real accounts experienced by people who dared to speak out. Entire families cursed, voices echoing through graveyards, statues that weep miracles, and silent entities that watch from the shadows. The most disturbing part? In every story, there's a truth that refuses to die. Before we dive into these tales, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the bell. You'll need courage to keep watching, and maybe even someone by your side. Now take a deep breath and get ready, because what you're about to hear isn't just horror. It's real. Story 1. The Girl Behind the Glass. Boston, Massachusetts, early 2000s. An electrical engineering student in his final semesters of college often stayed late on campus. Evening classes and long lab sessions kept him there until the last lights went out. That night felt just like any other. Dimly lit hallways, classroom doors closed, and the echo of his own footsteps through the science wing. As he walked past the university simulation and modeling building, something caught his eye. A figure darting between the lab tables. A child. A little girl. He turned immediately. The lab's large, soundproof glass windows made it easy to see inside. A girl, no older than 6, was smiling and moving quickly between the equipment. But something was off. The door was locked. The building had been shut down minutes earlier. No professors, no students, no children should have been there. Confused, he approached the night janitor, a gray-haired man mopping the floor in a nearby hallway, and pointed. "There's a little girl inside the lab. Is she locked in?" The janitor glanced briefly at the window and replied, unfazed, "Oh yeah, she runs around from time to time. Don't worry, she's never hurt anyone." The calm, resigned tone of his answer made the student freeze. The man wasn't joking. He didn't even bother to check. "I've seen her maybe 3 times this year. Always late. No one knows who she is, but she shows up." Shaken, the student returned to his dorm that night knowing he had witnessed something beyond logic. In the days that followed, he learned about the building's dark past. Decades earlier, in the 1960s, an explosion in one of the labs killed a technician and his daughter, who had accidentally been left there for just a few minutes. People avoid talking about it, but those who work the night shift eventually see her, always running, always alone. Other students reported similar sightings. Some say she tries to get your attention but never speaks. Others claim she only appears when someone is about to experience a deep personal loss. Since that night, the student avoided that part of campus. But what disturbed him the most was her expression. He swore that in the brief moment their eyes met, she knew him, as if she had been waiting for him. At Boston University, they say she still runs through the shadows of the labs. She doesn't scream, she doesn't cry, she just runs, and never leaves. Story 2. The Curse of the Witch Grandmother. Rural Missouri. A family with deep colonial roots has passed down whispered stories for generations. But everything changed when one granddaughter finally decided to share what her grandmother had always feared to say out loud. Her great-grandmother, born in the early 1900s, lived in an isolated community of mixed European and Native American descent. Known for her herbal knowledge, strange rituals, and unsettling aura, people said she had witch's blood, and not just figuratively. Her son, a hardworking, kind man, fell in love with a young Amish woman who had left her community. They married against the grandmother's wishes, and that's when strange things began. The new wife couldn't carry a pregnancy to term. Each time she fell gravely ill. She lost multiple babies. Her body weakened, her hair fell out, and her spirit withered with every passing month. The great-grandmother, cold-eyed and controlled, claimed she was helping, offering teas, compresses, and blessings. But her daughter-in-law knew something was wrong. Strange objects were found under the bed, buried in the yard, even inside pillows. A Creole neighbor, known for her spiritual insight, warned her, "If you want children, leave this house. Leave that woman." And they did. They moved to another state, far from her influence. Not long after, the wife carried a pregnancy to full term and gave birth to a healthy baby. But the torment didn't end. It only paused. Over the years, inexplicable tragedies haunted the family. The grandmother, now grown, revealed she had strange scars on her shoulder, marks like burned fingers. When asked, she shared a night no one ever forgot. It was the eve of a local festival. She was excited to go to the park, meet friends, and dance. Her mother, daughter of the witch, tried to stop her. Through harsh words, then a stone, and finally said, "If you leave tonight, may he appear to you." Despite the fear, she left. The road led past fields and an abandoned cemetery. Moonlight lit the path. When her horse suddenly froze, she saw it. A massive, coal-black creature standing in the road. Not a dog, not a wolf, a thing without a name. Its eyes weren't animal eyes. They were human and full of hatred. She fainted, woke up at the cemetery gate, burning with fever, the scar on her shoulder fresh and throbbing. She never went back, never walked alone at night again. That was just one mark of the curse. The granddaughter says the family still carries a silent shadow. Sudden illnesses, disturbing dreams, small but cruel misfortunes, and always the feeling of being watched, even in daylight. The witch grandmother died quietly, never confessed, never denied, but the darkness never stopped. Story 3: The Creature on Cemetery Trail. Appalachia, Tennessee, a mountainous region thick with forests and old legends. Spirits of the land, nameless creatures, and paths no one dares walk after dark. It was here that a 17-year-old girl had one of the most terrifying experiences of her life, all because she disobeyed. It was a spring night, during the town's full moon festival, bonfires, music, dancing. She got ready to meet friends, but her mother, superstitious and stern, warned her, "Tonight is not safe. Don't go through the cemetery trail. And if you do, may he appear to you." Her words carried weight, like a curse, but the girl went anyway. She rode her horse through the woods, past the old 19th century cemetery. The trail was quiet, only hoofbeats echoing. Then, faint music in the distance, like a party in the wrong place. She continued. That's when the horse stopped. Ahead, something blocked the path. Huge, black, still. She thought it might be a wild dog or bear, but the darkness around it felt solid. She tried to lead the horse around it, but the animal wouldn't move. Its breathing became labored, like the air itself had turned heavy. She got down, raised her hand to scare it off. It didn't budge. Its eyes weren't empty, they were aware, human, and cruel. It looked at me like I didn't belong, like it was guarding that place. Terror took hold. Her body froze, her throat dried, and she collapsed. Lying on the cold ground, she heard footsteps, whispers, women's voices in the distance. But she saw no one. She was alone, or so she thought. Then she felt it, something touching her shoulder, hot like searing metal. Pain shot through her. She woke up at the cemetery gate, feverish, dazed. For days she drifted in and out of delirium, haunted by nightmarish dreams. When she finally recovered, she saw the scar. 5 long, burned fingers on her shoulder. No doctor could explain it. No medicine could heal it. She never walked that trail again. Her mother never mentioned the warning again. But the mark remained. The pain faded. The memory never did. Story 4: The Weeping Virgin and Her Miraculous Tears. Santa Fe, New Mexico. A place rich with spiritual tradition and deep Catholic faith. Nestled between mountains and desert are centuries-old churches that hold mysteries few dare to explore. This is where Alex, a sacred art restorer, experienced something that forever changed him. Trained at the National Institute of Conservation, Alex specialized in restoring religious relics, statues, stained glass, icons. But nothing prepared him for what he encountered in that remote New Mexico village. He was hired to restore an old plaster statue of Our Lady of Sorrows, worn down by time and intense devotion. From day one, something felt different. Locals looked at the statue with reverence and fear. A chapel caretaker insisted on watching Alex work. Despite the tension, he began restoration at night, after Mass. Alone in the chapel, he cleaned and repaired the statue. Hours passed. Deep into the night, he noticed something strange. A clear liquid was running down her face. He thought it might be condensation, or a leak, but there was no logical explanation. He wiped it away, only for the tears to return. Then, a faint scent of roses filled the air. Time seemed to stand still. The air thickened with something sacred, something unexplainable. Though Catholic, Alex wasn't superstitious. Still, he made the sign of the cross. He told no one, feared they'd think he imagined it. He finished his work and left. But weeks later, something astonishing happened. His mother, sick for months and refusing treatment, suddenly changed her mind. Tests came back. The feared tumor wasn't cancer. The surgery was easy, recovery fast. Alex couldn't explain it, but in his heart he felt something more had happened. He later returned to restore another statue. This time, the villagers welcomed him. He shared what he saw. The sacristan nodded. "You saw her tears, didn't you? You were chosen." The statue, it turns out, was known for weeping. Locals believed her tears healed. Others said she responded to human suffering with divine compassion. One woman claimed she placed the Virgin's tears on her sick child, and he survived an inoperable tumor. Alex found no tricks, no tubes, no hidden parts. The statue was solid, silent, and somehow alive. He never saw her cry again, but whenever he remembers that night, the scent of roses returns, and his mother's healing, still unexplained. Story 5. The Night in the Forest and the Scream in the Dark. Oregon, Pacific Northwest. Known for its vast forests and hidden trails. That's where a young girl and her family camped overnight before visiting a famous theme park. With no official campsites available due to a local soccer tournament, her father set up camp near a lake in a protected area. Everything seemed peaceful, lush nature, mild weather, until night fell. The girl and her friend, let's call her Diana, pitched their tent beside the parents' tent. They laughed, watched videos, ate snacks. Around 11 p.m. they decided to sleep. But then, they heard a metallic sound. It was like a shovel dragging across rocks. They held their breath and listened. Something being thrown into a car trunk. Then the trunk slamming shut. The car speeding off into the forest. Terrified, they texted a local friend. His reply was instant. Those woods were known for criminal activity and strange rituals. 2 men had vanished from the nearby beach just months before. Before they could process it, a scream echoed from the woods. A long, desperate male scream. They tried waking the parents. The mom hadn't heard it, but when they mentioned footsteps, she admitted she had heard them too. And worse, heavy breathing outside their tent. Panic took over. Inside the tent, the girls froze as someone walked in circles around the camp. Footsteps paused, resumed, got closer, moved to the car. Then silence. They thought it was over, until the same car returned, its headlights aimed straight at the tents. Someone got out, slammed the door, drove off again. Moments later, a police car came speeding down the same trail. Diana and her friend locked themselves in the car. They didn't sleep, just trembled. The next morning, they told everything to the mother. Pale, she confessed she heard a voice, close, very close. The father? He slept through it all. Back in civilization, the girl researched the area. She found not just stories of illegal activity, but of ritual murders in those same woods. And the 2 missing men? Still missing. Who screamed? What was in that trunk? Who circled the tent? Why were the police chasing them? The questions were never answered. And maybe they never should be. 5 stories. 5 realities that shatter what we know. From a lonely girl trapped in the glass walls of a university lab, to the silent tears of a statue that heals, family curses, nameless creatures, and unseen horrors lurking in American forests. Each tale carries one message. The supernatural doesn't follow rules. It just is. And if these stories felt surreal or unbelievable, remember, they came from real people, ordinary people, like me, like you. So maybe the real question isn't, is this real? But rather, what if it happens to you? Final tips to survive the unknown. Never ignore your instincts. Avoid unfamiliar forests, especially at night. If something unexplainable happens, don't dismiss it. And above all, if you hear footsteps while alone, don't speak, don't look, just run. Did these stories send chills down your spine? Then drop a like, share with a brave friend, and comment if something similar has ever happened to you. We want to know. We want to hear your story, because maybe the next story we tell here will be yours. Subscribe and hit the bell. Horror never sleeps, and neither do we.